Breathe in and breathe out. Did you know that indoor air you breathe could be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air? Fresh Air Matters specializes in helping you create a healthy indoor environment by cleaning the air you breathe. They offer local plans and services that include air filter replacement plans, air duct cleaning, and many more. Go to freshairmatters.com, call or text 469-469-1852 to learn more about cleaning your indoor air. That's freshairmatters.com or 469-469-1852. Tell Steven you heard about Fresh Air Matters from the Back in the Day podcast to receive a special discount on air duct cleaning, air purifiers, and more. Again, tell him that you heard about it from Back in the Day podcast. Joining me today on the podcast is one of my best friends of all time, Tim Ball. We talk about his life getting into real estate, our stories that we have from growing up together. Tim's literally probably one of my oldest friends. I've known him since 2nd grade. So we have obviously a lot of good stories that we get to. We talk about his career, getting into real estate, playing college football, a lot of fun stories. I hope you guys enjoy this.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast, one of my oldest friends, real estate investor, Freestyle Friday man, my good buddy, Tim Busy Ball. What's up, dude?
What up?
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Took you, I don't know, 2 years or something?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, really good friend. Knew him forever.
This is year 4, so no, you
Year
know.
4. Exactly.
Or year three. I think we started in 2020.
It's all right. You kind of build up to like the major guest.
Absolutely.
I get it.
I know.
I'm the...
If you recognize his last name, his wife was on season 2, Dr. Terry Gonzalez Ball. So if you listened around, they know each other a little bit. So first thing I said to you when you walked in, I hadn't seen you in a couple of months. You're looking trim, dude.
Thanks, man.
For the people that don't know Tim, before he just was disgusting. Like just, you know.
I carried it well. I was juicy.
Yeah.
But I was good.
And I'm just giving him a hard time. He wasn't disgusting. Obviously not. I have no room to
carry it
talk.
well.
You just look like a normal person. But before that, maybe the reason why it maybe felt that way is because you used to be like 1% body fat.
Well, you haven't seen me like this in 15 years.
That long?
I mean, I probably started losing it around, about 10. Started losing about 28,
Yeah.
38 now. So...
And so what have you been doing? I know a little bit about it. You've been doing the carnivore diet.
I fell on the carnivore diet. Go ahead.
Go in depth on that. What
Okay.
that is.
So I essentially am eating meat, eggs, cheese. I'm not like ultra strict. Like the ultra strict carnivores are beef, salt, water. Like it's an elimination diet because a lot of times these people get on because of eczema problems, inflammation problems, whatever. I didn't have that. I was like, I'm kind of fat. I need 40. I need to lose 40 to 50 pounds. Actually, you know what? I thought it was 25 pounds, and I just kept losing, but I wasn't trying. Like, I was just eating properly. The only thing I changed in my life was cutting out breads, carbs, sugars, all that. So I just fell off, and I feel great. And that's it. I don't know.
You eat
what else you want
you
me
would
to
eat
talk about?
any meat, like just any meat in general. There's like you'll eat like a sausage. You'll eat you'll eat pork. You're not like I'm only eating chicken and beef.
Yeah, I barely eat chicken. I like chicken, but it's more high fat, high protein. So beef, pork, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, some people are like, well, you can't eat sausage because it's, has nitrates. Right?
And
Like
you're
I'm not
proving them wrong, right?
Yeah, I'm not very strict about it. I mean, I'm strict in like I'm not eating breads and sugars and whatever else. But in terms of if there's some, give me some Cholula up on my eggs,
your egg or whatever,
or jalapenos, avocado. That's a fruit. Sorry, carnivore community. But it's high fat, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm still enjoying my life. It works because I love meat and cheese.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're doing the carnivore diet the same way whenever I do keto. I don't follow
it's not
all
that
the
far.
rules. Like, you know what I mean? Like I do like a keto light, basically.
Yeah.
Like I'm basically just cut out sugar and carbs. But I'm not gonna like, I don't weigh it and be like, oh, I need to have this much micro stuff. No, I'm just eating.
It's too
meat,
hardcore, especially if
some
you're in.
cheese.
I'm in a couple groups on Facebook, just as community to learn like recipes, what people do, their results, etc. Some people are like so hardcore, like a vegan, right? Like an annoying vegan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, I threw some pepper on my meat. They're like, not carnivore, it's pepper. Don't post that. And you're like, chill out.
Yeah, loser. Should we read some of their posts and like call them out by name?
No.
Okay. All right. So you are doing that. Does your family join in on the carnivore-ish
No.
diet?
My wife is actually coming around to my lifestyle, but at first, she keeps calling me, like, hey, does your cult allow you to do this? And I'm like, it's not a cult, okay? Just a community, okay? But I tell on her to them, and then they're going to be after her. No, she's seen the results. She thinks that I'm going to die without carbs for whatever reason, or...
Well, it's because your wife's Hispanic, and carbs are big, and the carbs are life in that
you're not gonna eat
community.
the tortillas.
You know, my wife is Hispanic as well, and when I'm not eating carbs, that's a big deal to her. And I'm like, we're eating the same dinner. I'm just not having the piece of bread that goes with it, or like I'm not having the noodles. Like I'm just having the same thing,
That's
but
a
just
good
not
point,
that.
because it's not. I always say it's not necessarily what I'm eating; it's what I'm not eating now. Like you said, it's like, well, why aren't you eating the bread? And don't you want a piece of cake after? It's like, didn't I? Okay, I didn't hear when I was 50 pounds overweight, feeling terrible, looking terrible. Never heard a peep about the Pop-Tarts, the cakes, the cookies, the 1,000 chips at dinner. Give me that waffle. Yeah, give me that cheesecake. Whatever it was. But when I cut out all that stuff, it's like, I'm concerned for Tim. Are you? Yeah. Weren't you concerned for me when I was literally creating diabetes on my third cheesecake slice? Just like, I'm healthy.
You know what's funny about that is, for the past probably 8 to 10 years, every single year I've lost 35 pounds and then gained 36 pounds back every single year. Like, like I'll lose it. I feel good or whatever. I'm doing great. And it's just this yo-yo. Well, every time I do that, it's like you said, the people that aren't doing it, they're like, you sure you don't? Oh, I just feel so bad. Oh, that's all you're going to eat? Are you sure you want that? So I did last summer. I was at my in-laws and everyone kept doing that to me. So every time they were eating something that was bad, I was like, you sure you want another one of those? You sure? Like, just do the opposite to them. I was like, ooh, another donut?
I feel like we're so brainwashed and ingrained of like, eat your 3 meals a day. Who made that ad? Kellogg's.
Ooh,
Breakfast.
shots fired at Kellogg's. Unless y'all want to sponsor. No,
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes are really good for you. I actually think the government put Lucky Charms above the health of eggs on like their like list of stuff that's like good for you. It's like, okay, come on. Anyway, we don't have to get into all that.
No, that's fine.
I feel great. My knees feel great. Sleeping great.
Have you added working out into it?
So I've lifted a couple times a week for the past, I don't even know how many years. Play pickleball here and there. Play a lot of decent amount of golf now. So really the only thing I truly changed was literally that.
Yeah.
Just lifting. I'm lifting.
It's funny because people don't realize like your diet is so important.
Especially as you get older.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because, I mean.
I used to burn it like nothing. You see me eat.
Yeah, I've seen you eat for a lot of years. And it was a lot, It was a big, and then you stop and you lose that ability to like just drop weight constantly, and you're getting older. So like once you get older, it's just your diet.
That's it.
This podcast is all now diet tips. If you were wondering, we only talk about diet now. Thank you for tuning in today. So, all right, talk to me about growing up. We've known each other since what, second grade?
Second.
We had Miss Schmidt's class together. Shout out Miss Schmidt.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think she's retired?
Know, that was like 30 years, literally 30 years ago.
At least, yeah.
That's crazy.
Right at 30 years ago.
I think she was young too at the time. If I remember, maybe 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe 30s.
Did you have a crush on her?
She could be 60 right now.
Did you have a crush
That's
on her?
ridiculous. I think so.
She
might have been.
I think I had a crush on her as well.
I think I did too. And I was like, you're 7 years old and you're like, And then I remember my third grade teacher, Miss Lumpkin.
Uh-huh.
I had a crush on her. Fourth,
I did not have a crush on my third grade teacher. She was like 65. Or no, she probably wasn't that old, but she was, older than our parents, so she seemed very old to me. Because I think she's still like kicking it. So
I had a couple crushes growing
definitely Miss Schmidt. I had a huge crush on her. I remember one time, I think she had like, because we pay our teachers so well. She also worked at like TGI Fridays or something, and she like waited on our table, and I was so embarrassed to be around her because I had such a huge crush on her that we had to leave. I couldn't handle like my family, like we had to leave. They're like, what is wrong with you? And like I was like, I can't be here, so we left.
Michael, do you want the fries? No, I'll eat fries. Yeah. Let's get out of here.
And so we just bounced, and I think we just left the check too. No, I'm just joking. Oh, we didn't do that. So we've known each other since second grade, and then we've kind of grown up together. We grew up in Carrollton, the mean streets.
C-Town.
Then
we made it out, Mike.
I know, made it out. Made it out of the upper middle class white neighborhood that we grew up in. And,
Started from the middle, now we hip.
And then, still kind of live very close to that area as well. So you move from Carrollton. After that, you go to school on a football scholarship to Duke.
I do. Represent.
Talk to me about your time at Duke. If you could go back into time, would you do it the same way? Would you have gone to Duke still? Would you have maybe tried to go somewhere different?
It's hard to say because it's, everything's in hindsight, right? Because I didn't really know. I was an optimist going into it and I'm thinking, if I go to Duke, I'll write my own ticket when I graduate. But now, we can talk about later, college is a scam. But
we've talked about that on this podcast. We can talk about it.
But, we were really bad when we went there. It just didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. I was doing well with the position I was put in. I tore my ACL, all this. But if I would still end up with my wife, shout out to Terry, and have my two boys and be where I'm at in life now, and could have picked a different school, I would have picked something else. More football, not necessarily. But again, I didn't really know much about college. I didn't keep up with it, so I didn't really even know how bad we were. But I thought, however bad we were, I thought, if I come in and got some other good guys coming in, we can turn it around. Which it happens. Duke's been decent in the last 5 years or whatever. Yeah. So, yes, I would change my decision to go somewhere else.
Do you think one decision I'll ask you about, because I know what you when you're being recruited at a high level like Tim was, you get 5 official visits that you're allowed to go on, right? That the NCAA allows you to go on. You only went to your visit to Duke. Would you change that if you go back to it to at least see the other schools? And
yeah. I almost after I had a good visit, and just like sales, these coaches are just like, hey, we only got so much, and the sales pressure. Yeah, and I was like, man, if I say no or wait, and they give that scholarship away, and then I go here, and now I'm messed up. So I fell for that game, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit. I'm committed. And honestly, thinking about it, I could have committed and still, because I didn't sign yet.
Yeah,
I could have been like, I'm going to Duke, and then still done the thing.
Do you remember this? Did they have a rule at Duke that if you visited other schools once you were committed that they would rescind your scholarship offer? Do you remember that at all?
No.
There's certain schools that will do that.
Makes sense.
I think that's a big thing for Brent Venables, the head coach at OU, is that he will, if you've committed and you're like going around to other schools, like that's like a thing. Like he will not. Like I don't know how. I'm thinking if you're like a top recruit, he probably won't do that.
It kind of makes sense, right? Like it's like, I'm coming here, coach. I'm committed, and you see him partying in Georgia, and you're like, dude, I get it.
Yeah,
it's a fine balance. And now you got the NIL stuff. Now it's like it's all crazy.
What's your thought on NIL? For those of you that don't know, if you're not a huge college sports fan or haven't paid attention to it, I believe 2 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled that college players should be able to be paid for their name, image, and likeness. Before they were never allowed to do anything. Like Tim couldn't do a commercial when he was in college with a Duke jersey on because that was illegal. He couldn't if he would have wanted to come back home and done the Tim Ball football camp over the summer, he couldn't have used his name to promote it or anything like that. That would have been illegal for the NCAA. They changed that law in the summer of 2021 to allow players to start making money off of their name. That's not really what it's turned into something completely different.
It's Wild
but
Wild West.
yeah, it's not that at all. It's definitely. But if in the essence of it, what's your opinion about the NIL?
If it was like it's meant to be, I think it makes sense. If you're like, hey, this kid, these kids came from poverty and they can get a commercial and start making some money or whatever, and they're actually using their name, their likeness, it's like, yeah, I want to get paid for that. I agree with it. But if it's just like, hey, Jaquarius, we will give you a Lamborghini if you sign with it. I mean, that's just crazy. It's just like, it's bribery, essentially. It's how I see it. If there was actually some like hard, fast rules to be like, okay, you can get a job, you can get a commercial, you just can't give me money, give me bags of money. That's what it seems like it is. So I'm for it and I'm not.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I'm for what it's supposed to be. What it's turned into is just pay for play, right?
That's it.
It takes
away the loyalty from the game, too. It's like pros now. It's like, who can pay me the most? That's why I always loved college, too, more, because there's the camaraderie. It's like, this is my alma mater. It's like, well, who gave me a car?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like I don't know if you've seen this, there's certain universities that it's like every single player makes $50,000 a year. Like,
yeah,
it's
like sign on. Like,
yeah,
all the linemen get $50,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's like, well,
why?
Who is like no disrespect to the third string offensive lineman at whatever university, but no one is profiting off of your name, image, and likeness.
No,
right? You didn't make your name, image, and likeness is not bringing in $50K a year.
No,
that's paying you to play there, which is fine if that's what's going to be. Just make it that. Don't.
And honestly, man, the commercial stuff I get. If they like, you're using my name in a commercial, and like you pay me.
Yeah,
whatever. You're like a star, or whatever.
Or like Johnny Manziel's number 2 A&M jerseys. Those 2 or 3 years that he was in college was everywhere. Like, he should have got a piece of that, right?
That makes sense. But honestly, man, getting a full ride scholarship to play football is really cool. Yes, you got to figure out a schedule. You got to go to class. You got to go to film. Got to go to workout. But like someone like Duke, at the time I was there, 40, 50 grand a year or semester or whatever it was, I'm not paying that. And I'm getting literally everything free, getting all my meals for free. Sweet gear,
stipend. You got a monthly stipend,
and
correct?
I'm getting a degree, so I get it, but it's doable. It seems like I'm speaking out against it, but you are getting a lot of money, and yes, you are earning it through your athletic ability. But anyway, that's
shots
what I think
fired
about
at NIL, Tim Ball. So it is. I get this question a lot with my children. I don't know if I've ever asked you this about yours, but since you played sports at a high level, you played D1 sports, is that important for you that your kids play sports? Like, are you like going to want them to play football, or you're wanting them to play a certain sport? Like, do you care about that?
I want my kids to be doing something. I'm not the football dad like, you will fulfill what I couldn't, boy. I will live through you vicariously. No, I want my boys to do whatever it is. I want them to do something. So, like, yes, obviously I'd love my boys to be awesome at football. But if it's baseball, if they're like, hey, Dad, I really want to pursue golf, and really, it's cool. Let's start doing it. Soccer, I'm not that, like, only football, son.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of steering. Like, maybe, soccer, it's a lot of running. It's hot. But if they really wanted to, I'm cool with it. I want him to be not just, okay, you don't want to do sports? Cool. Then pick up a guitar,
band,
piano,
whatever.
Like that. I'm cool with that, because the idle time is devil's time. Well, so just sitting at the house doing nothing. So you ain't doing that. So you want to get a job?
Yeah.
10 years old? I mean, I don't.
Absolutely.
Be doing something.
Well, and that's kind of like people ask me, like, you want your kids to do theater? Like, are you going to push them? And I was like, I don't care what they do. Like, no, for real.
I would steer them away from that.
Yeah. Well,
no, I'm kidding. So there's more things than theater going on.
Absolutely. Don't do that at all. Don't waste your time with it. Don't take any of the scholarships that they offer you, for sure. But, like, people will ask me that, like, you want them to do performance, you want them to do stuff like that. I was like, I don't care what they do as long as they do something. I want them to do group extracurricular activities. Because there's so much that you learn from, like, everything that you do doesn't have to be in order for you to get a scholarship or to go pro in it, right? Like, it's perfectly fine just to play.
Developing skills.
Yeah. Developing social skills, developing doing a goal, working hard towards
hand-eye
it,
coordination,
whatever,
which are important things in life to
Yeah.
have.
setting a goal, hitting it, not giving up on something, showing up on time,
Yes.
working with a team, like all that stuff matters. So like my kids, I just want them to have something they're passionate about and work hard at it.
And have a good attitude. It's like, hey, if you want to do this, like, don't be quit because I'm not immediately good at it.
Yeah.
Which I get it, because you're competitive and you're not good at something immediately. You're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Which I feel I'm like that sometimes when I don't immediately get something. I'm like, no, I don't want it.
Well, of course, everyone's like that. That's human nature, right?
Parenting, just growing your kids up
Yeah.
and develop them into decent human beings.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of fun, a lot of
yeah,
work.
it's never frustrating.
Not frustrating at all. You never want to like yell at them or
Throw them through a window.
yeah, or leave early to do a podcast. Earlier than you're supposed to. That's never crosses your mind or anything.
That's the clip your wife's gonna see. She's like,
You said
I knew it.
7:45.
I knew it.
I checked the maps. One of the most common reasons for poor indoor air quality and HVAC malfunction is restricted airflow and poor air circulation caused by the failure to replace the air filters. When was the last time you replaced your air filters? Do you own rental property? Are you tired of climbing into your attic to replace your air filters? With Fresh Air Matters air filter replacement plans, you won't have to worry about replacing your air filters again. They provide the filters, they replace them for you, and they clean your return vents on the same day, same time, every 30 to 90 days. Go to freshairmatters.com or contact Steven at 469-469-1852 to schedule your air filter replacements plan or any other local IAQ services. Okay, so grew up, Duke, graduate from Duke, moved back to Texas, and then you got into real estate. Well, there's a few other things then, but we'll talk. You go into real estate. What made you decide to get into real estate?
So when I graduated, I wanted to do, I kind of wanted to pursue acting and comedy and stuff, but I didn't really have any necessary background. But I know I didn't want to get stuck at a cubicle, hating my life 5 days out of the week, 9 to 5, praying for the weekend, for Monday to come again. So I knew that at least, but I didn't know I want to be a businessman, but what is that? I don't know. So I was just odds and end jobs here and there, trying to flip stuff, flipping cars. I knew I had the personality to be like a sales guy, but I didn't really know what that meant because I never really worked. I played football my life. So I was in that weird, am I still a football player? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not sure. So it took me a few years. I was doing some odds and end jobs, just trying to make some money. And then, not to bore you with the details, I just found this brokerage who does wholesale real estate. So I essentially interviewed with them. I was like, I was learning about tax sales and stuff like that in the beginning. I was like, real estate sounds cool. I was like, people want to live somewhere and you got to sell, and I think you can make good money. So it just kind of fell into it. I got hired. I started hustling, making it happen, and just, grew from there.
Did you ever contemplate doing like residential sales? Like traditional real estate?
Like retail?
Yeah.
No, because the very first thing I really learned about was the wholesale side. And I'm like, this is way easier. I can sell something and get it closed in 2 weeks and it smells like dog piss. Cool. Not like traveling around with people and be like, oh, I like this house. But
yeah.
The wallpaper. It's like, well, freaking get rid of the wallpaper. Do you like the house? So it's just strictly numbers. Like, does it make sense or not? Yes or no? No. Cool. Let's move on. Yes. Let's do it.
For my listeners that know nothing about real estate, explain elevator pitch, what wholesale real estate is.
Wholesale real estate is you pick up, and not just real estate, really most everything in sales is some type of wholesale. You pick it up for X and you sell it for Y. So we go out, dig around, find these deals, pick it up from seller, Mike seller, like, hey, give you $100,000 for this house. You're happy with it? Like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Cool. Get it under contract. There's a couple ways you can wholesale, but we actually purchase those homes and then we just resell them. So we'll purchase it for $100,000. You're happy. You have your money. You're gone. We own it. We sell it to Travis here for $110,000, $120,000, whatever we can sell it for where it makes sense to him as an investor, because he's going to put $40,000, $50,000 into it, sell it for $200,000 or rent it out, tear it down, whatever. You got your money. You're happy. Whether I flip it keep it, burn it down. Doesn't matter to you. Just like when he makes 40 grand in profit flipping, I'm like, hey man, what's going on? You know what I mean? So it's just I find something for X, sell it for Y. And the wholesale, you don't touch it. So I'm just like, thank you. Here you go, Travis. Pay me 130 grand for this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the very basic.
And so you're not having to do you're not having to waste your Saturday touring a bunch of houses with somebody.
No. If there's a
dealing
hot
with any
lead,
of
I got to
that.
go. It's like, hey, this house is a good deal. It's beat up. They need to get out of it. And there's a million different scenarios why people want to sell. Divorce, death in the family, or they're just, they're elderly and they can't take care of it anymore, or whatever. I mean, or just like, hey, I inherited this house. Do you want it?
Yeah.
But probates, whatever. There's a million different reasons why someone needs to sell their house, but we're hopefully there to make a deal with the seller that they're happy with. We buy it, and sell it off. Or keep it myself. I invest as well. So me and my wife have some rentals, do some flips here and there. I bought a deal in Sanger where I'm trying to develop some land, which is a good learning experience because it's a lot of ordinances and, variances I got to deal with and measurements. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, but should be a good learning experience.
Have you felt like with interest rates going up a lot, has that impacted your business at all?
Not really. Some people get a little more gun shy, but what I'm dealing with in the real estate investment world, all I'm dealing with mostly, except new people that come in, may or may not know what they're doing, but I'm dealing with real estate professionals. So they just adjust with the market and we just keep it moving. So it's like, hey, I used to buy at this number. Now I really needed this number. Well, give the same pitch to the sellers. Like, we can't pay this, maybe in 2020, but now it's this because the house needs this, you know what I mean? Just educate them. It's like, why? So we adjust with the market. That's what's really good about the investment real estate, because real estate's not going away. You got to live
people are
somewhere.
gonna buy
Travis,
houses always,
everyone has
right?
to live somewhere, whether it's apartments, houses, whatever. So we just adjust accordingly. Yes, sometimes there's a little stoppage but DFW, fortunately, has always been pretty even keel, either here or here. It's never been like a New York or LA where there's paying astronomical prices and then everything catches up. It's like, woo. So DFW is a good spot to do it in.
Sweet. So you talked about how you didn't want to work like a 9 to 5 or anything like that. Have you?
Sorry if you do work a 9 to 5.
No one.
That could be your. I mean,
no
that's
one
fine.
wants to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
There's no one out
Right.
there. I don't think anyone woke up one day and was growing up was like, I can't wait to sit in a cubicle for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't think
or whatever.
that-
It doesn't have to be cubicle, but
Yeah.
it's just like, is this what I want to do the rest
The
of my life?
grind every single day.
So if you want to do something, go for it, because, why not, right?
Yeah, we're all gonna die, right?
We
so
are.
you
are.
might as well just however long you've got on this earth, do it chasing the things that you want, right?
Yes.
That's why I do this podcast. That's why I do comedy. That's why I do all those things, because you only have so much time on this earth. Why not at least do something that you like?
I almost
to
think
do?
this is probably more conspiracy, but I feel like public education now is we're just training. The government's just training more employees to go out, because they're training from 7 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. You're just busy. You're busy work. So it's like, you remember, you're trained for that. Let's get you a 9 to 5.
Well, 100%.
I'm just like-
school is 100% set up to teach you how to be
An employee.
an employee. It's not set up to teach you
Entrepreneurial.
how to be the boss. It's not set up for you to be. That's why.
Remember they taught us a lot about taxes in school? No. Remember they taught us how to,
Yeah.
start a small business? No.
I'm very
They don't want that.
anti-public school. I've had.
I have too.
a
Even
couple
my
of-
kids are in public. Well, one of my kids is in private, but
Yeah. It is what it is. That's what we have as public school.
it's better than keeping them at home and
there's-
dealing with them,
yeah,
right? It's
100%.
let the government, just let them have
There's a lot of good teachers out
came
there,
out okay.
and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's just more of the system that is public education. We have to do it exactly this way. You have to do this on this time. You have to do this on that. You can't go to the bathroom more than 3 times a semester in my class. Why? This is when I pee. You know what I mean? This is when my body wants me to pee. This is or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. In life, you're going to be able to pee whenever you want to pee. I pee at work, I pee all the time. You know what I mean? I'll pee 7 times
Yeah.
in one work day.
So you got a
right?
can under
I'm
this
peeing,
right now.
I'm peeing right now, you know? But the thing is, that's exactly what it is. Public education is set up to be able to be a good worker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it, right? And if you think about, I'm not saying it's this way with all the time, but a lot of times your business owners were your average student.
Yeah.
Were your students that like bucked the system, that were like, I don't know if I'm really going to do it that way, or...
They typically say the C students are the bosses of the A students just because they know how to kind of finagle systems and just figure it out without overworking hard and like, I have to do this. I'm very regimented. It's like, no, we can figure this out. So they're more loose, more risk takers. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be happy when my son's like, Dad, I got an A on, like, dude, that's awesome. Great job. But if he gets a C plus and he's like really working hard, I'm going to be like, get that up to A, son. Like, hey, buddy, keep working hard. You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the work ethic than I am than anything else.
Yes.
And the attitude, because that's really what matters. And can you problem solve, right?
Yes.
Because like I've managed a ton of people over the years, like different salespeople, and honestly, my best salespeople are always the ones that kind of break the rules. Not like that they're doing anything shady or anything, but that they like break process a little bit.
Yes.
Like they follow process to a certain point, but they're like, this one thing that you're having me do, I do it this way because this saves me a lot of time, and I kind of
And doing
do it
that
my
way
own
won't benefit me at all in my sales.
Absolutely,
So
and I'm just going to do it that way,
Yeah.
right? And
100%,
usually,
that's how I am.
your best salespeople are ones that can figure.
They're the ones that set bad examples for the very mediocre people.
Yeah,
And they're like, well, Tim's doing this. I'm like, well, Tim's a different level, guys. You know what I mean?
or
you know what I mean?
It's that the best ones are the ones that are being able to identify that something's a waste of their time, and also be able to have enough courage to break the system, right? Like they have enough confidence in themselves to be like, yeah, one, I've identified that that's a waste of time. Two, I'm confident enough to be like, I'm not doing that.
And they're
And
not
three-
because I bring too much money into the company or too much produce. So they're not. Might be, hey Tim, can you? I'm like, well, maybe I'll put on a little bit better act in front of everyone, but I'm not doing that.
Well, and in all
You know?
honesty, they usually, that person that's good and that has broken process, they do it from like day 2. They figure it out, right? Like I worked a job one time that I realized they wanted us to do something a certain way, and I realized I was like, oh, well, past this certain point, they don't judge us on this anymore. Like they don't
Yep.
calculate that. So I just don't do this anymore. And I
Yep.
never told anyone I wasn't doing it. But it was like I was saving like 45 minutes a day by not doing that.
Yep.
And it didn't affect my sales.
The ones that are sticking to the
Yeah.
A students.
Yeah. I have to do it this way. And they're fine. They're mediocre. They're not bad. They'll never be maybe they're mediocre to good. Right. And so it is interesting to see a lot of people that I know that grew up in school that,
Well, we think all the millionaires and billionaires that we know just in social media, and those guys like dropped out of college. They're just like, man, I'm going to start doing my own. Like, I don't know. We don't have to go
now
on
the
that.
doctors, that's a different story. The doctors were A
Doctors,
students,
engineers,
Yeah.
architects, nurse. Like you have
accountants,
those five,
they have to
6
follow that
and they have to go
structure.
to college, right?
Yeah.
But if my son at 18 years old, and let's say he doesn't have a full ride scholarship to somewhere, and he's like, Dad, do you want me to go to college? Like, should I go to college, or should I start doing real estate, or just start working and hustling? Sorry, Mom. Buddy, if you don't know what you want to do and you just want to go waste time in college, let's start working.
Yeah.
Let's start hustling. You want to flip a house? Let's do it. You know, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
flip a house and make 40 grand, or you want me to pay 40 grand to some school for you to party and get some stupid basket weaving class?
Yeah. Whatever class. Biology of dinosaurs. Right?
There you go. Shout out.
Shout out Tim's
Freshman year at
first
Duke.
semester. What was the other one? Hip hop. History of hip hop.
History hip hop?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Yeah.
At Duke University. Like if you
There's
weren't
a lot,
paying
and there's
for that.
if I oh man, that would have been awesome if I would have brought my all my classes through the years. I took so much stupid. That's why.
Did
Just
you
get
take
the
a
degree.
life-
I don't
did
care.
you take a lifeguarding class?
I took
or
a
something
lifeguard
like that?
class. I took jujitsu, yoga, fly fishing. That dude, my senior year was the cakest year of all time.
What's funny about that too, though, is like were there other people in your class that weren't athletes?
What, like jujitsu and
Yeah, like fly fishing.
oh yeah, I mean people want to try it out.
Yeah, but think about that, right? So it's one thing that you did that and it was 100% paid for, right? But I know at OU a 3-hour class. So I know y'all did credits, not hours, right? So that's like a 1 credit class, right?
Yeah.
A 1 credit class was like $1,500 at OU. So it was probably like $10,000 at Duke.
Yeah. Son,
And-
what, you're taking what, son?
Yeah, for $10,000.
Freaking yoga?
Yeah.
I'll be pissed. But
Or I would
there's
just
a lot
like-
of Duke dads that, you know, they're not on scholarship. They're just like,
But think about that though. You could just be like, can't you take yoga at Lifetime Fitness for $80 a month or something?
that's a great point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Or jujitsu,
Yeah.
6 blocks away. The guy that's a freaking jujitsu guy.
Yeah, instead of
Didn't even think about that.
You
But
know
I'm
what I
just,
mean?
They gave me the money to do it. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Well, dude, I was required to take African music.
Classic, dude.
You know what I mean?
I use that every day.
Yeah, all the time. What was so stupid about it is that I had a degree in I have a theater degree.
You talking about
And-
rap?
Yeah, no,
Are you talking about- oh, okay. I'm sorry.
no.
Okay.
I had to take I had to take, and I had to take a non-European arts class, 3,000 level, and I was like, well, my entire degree is arts. Can I take like a business class instead? Like, no, everyone at OU has to take a 3,000 level arts class. Like, I get what you're saying. I was like, but I have like 25 arts classes.
Yeah.
And so then I had to take this like history of African. I don't know exactly what it was, and it was just like they would play this music that it was like tribal listening music, and they and our entire class was they'd play that music. Then we'd have a final where we would have to write down who it was. Like we listened to it.
That's so
And, like,
stupid. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
$3,000.
Just a money grab. And it's like, hey, we got to have a regiment for these people.
Yeah.
You got to take it. Sorry. I took a class called Political Economy of East Asia. It's like a political science requirement.
Yeah.
And like that was what was available. Sat in a round table like this, 12, 15 people. Me and my boy Cheese. His name's Alfred, but we call him Cheese, football guy. The dude spoke barely any English the whole time. We like squint to see what he's saying. I wrote the paper at the end of it was like a 15-page paper trying to like stretch it out, you know, big as much like I was like, I don't know what, you know, just figuring it out. He graded it. He's like, hey, change this. Just put all these things. I was like, oh yeah, I'll change it. I just printed it off again. Didn't touch it. I did not change anything that he sent me. And I was like, I don't even know what he's saying to change. I was like, I just turned it back in, like day or two, you know, a week later, whatever it was, and I got like a B+ in the class. That's the thing you're talking about. Bending the I'm not doing that. B+, cool.
Yeah, dude.
Instead of spending like, what am I doing?
I know. I had a class that was like that in my freshman or sophomore year of college. That I don't remember what class it was, but the final was ridiculous. But they gave us the final before to like work on, but then we'd have to like redo it. So I just like did the final at home, right on that piece of paper that was supposed to be like the review. Put it in my backpack, pretended like I was working on the other one for an hour and a half, and just switched them out and handed in the other one, and got like an A. And all my friends got like C's in that class. I was like, you know, the same thing. Like, you know, like I'm not gonna. You gave me the freaking final. Like, you know, like, that's so stupid. Because again,
it wasn't necessarily a game in the system. It's like you gave me. I mean, it was
Yeah,
it was available. This is what I did.
you gave it to me. Got to do what you
Going
got
back,
to do.
that's why you're a good sales guy, man. That's why you make it happen.
You know,
The biology. I was really mad at biology of dinosaurs because I was like, I'm taking that class. This is gonna be so easy. I worked so hard on that class. You got to learn like all the freaking body parts and the this and that, which is all freaking bunch of it's freaking theory anyway. Not dinosaurs, but a bunch of dumb stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got like a C-. I'm like, well, I guess biology is not easy.
yeah.
On dinosaurs, I was
either.
really mad. And that freaking lifeguarding class I took, I got a C on that. I was like, I thought I'm just gonna be swimming and saving people and maybe like, I don't know, getting a tan or
You know,
something.
you're gonna get to save people. Like,
Something. And there was like written tests. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was bad. I had to take one more like political science or this lady, and dude, like all these teachers are like very proper. All these students a lot of them are nerds. They take it very seriously. I'm in this class senior year. I'm in a wife beater, like white shirt, just like my buffest I've ever been, just sitting there listening to the introduction of the class. And she's like, she just, everything was going to happen. I was like, she's like, do y'all have any questions? And I was like, is there going to be like a lot of reading in this class? And she was like so mortified. She was like, yeah, we're going to have a lot of reading. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Didn't come back the next day. I like switched classes. I like dropped the class. I was like, I'm not reading all that. I'm not doing it, And I'm fine. Like some people have in their mind, like if I don't do this, I'm not going to be successful in life. But I was like, I have no interest in this. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and
I'm out of here.
Read whatever.
Hopefully your audience is learning something from us today. It's like, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't
do it.
Again, if it's a responsibility as a man, a father, a husband, do it, even if you don't want to do it. But stuff that's not going to have any real lasting effect on your life,
no. Why are you stressing out about things that don't matter? Whether you suffer from allergy symptoms like sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes and throat, runny nose, asthma, more severe respiratory issues, or even cancer, poor indoor air quality has been directly linked to your overall health. Take control of the air you breathe today. Contact Steven of Fresh Air Matters for more. Fresh Air Matters has everything you need to clean the indoor air before you breathe. Go to freshairmatters.com/air purifiers and use my promo code PASVAR, that's PASVAR, at checkout to receive a special discount on all air purification products. Go to freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. That's freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. When in high school, what was your routine for doing homework? Because I had a rule. I want to see if yours was similar to mine.
Dude, it's like a blur to me in high school now. But I don't know. Did we get homework sent to us a lot? I don't remember.
I had a rule that if I couldn't do it during Channel 1, so Channel 1
shout out
was
to Maria Menounos. She's still rocking.
I know, she's like killing it now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Channel 1 was this news thing that they would show us in the morning that was recorded the day before, and it was the news, and it was ran by like 19, 20-year-olds that were like getting into the industry. And maybe they were older than that, like maybe fresh out of college. And they would show us the news, and we watched it every single morning. It was like 15, 20 minutes long. My rule was if I couldn't get the homework done during Channel 1, then I just didn't do it. Like,
solid.
That's all. That was like unless it was like like a huge report.
Yeah, I don't remember getting. I mean, I would just do it and stuff. Some teachers didn't really care. It's like I got to do this or I don't. I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
Well, my parents had a rule that I had to have a B average in all of my classes, or I couldn't get a car. That was how I kept a car.
But your goal is the car. It wasn't the grades.
No, it wasn't.
It's like, hey, I want the car.
So my mom makes a joke. She would say like, you know, at the beginning of the year they give you like a syllabus or syllabi. Syllabus or syllabi?
Depends. You get one or two.
Oh, so all the syllabi for the
syllabuses.
Yeah, all the syllabus sizes for the semester. I would sit at my kitchen table, and like they write down like how many tests you're going to have and like what every percentage is. And she said that I would like have them all laid out, and I would be doing the math on like which assignments I could do and which ones I didn't have to do in order to get the B.
Nice.
like,
Working hard on something else to try to figure out how to get out of it.
And she's like, if you would just work that hard in school.
But again, you're fine. You got a degree from OU, and you're hustling, doing your thing.
Life's good, I guess. So
I guess.
What's one of your favorite memories from growing up in Carrollton? Tim and I have maybe 300 inside jokes. A lot.
I'm really mad we lost that list.
I know.
We wrote it down one time.
One day we sat in at his house or somewhere, and we wrote down every inside joke we had on a piece of paper, and it was a very high number.
It was extensive. It was amazing.
A lot of inside.
And only
jokes.
Only we know it's. I mean, inside jokes, right?
Yeah.
We're the only ones that think it's funny.
We won't sit there and tell our inside jokes. But we had a lot of inside jokes. We only didn't have too many classes together, did we? Well, I remember senior year we had advertising together. Remember that?
Oh. You don't say the name? No, yeah.
I put him on blast, but we took. We had
very nice guy.
Very nice
so
man.
Nice.
We had this class advertising, which you think that would be like a fun class, but the guy that did it, he was like retired.
Just oddball.
just an oddball guy. He made Tim because Tim was like one of the best players on the football team. He made Tim this can, and he handed it to him on a Friday, like one of the first games. And was like, "Hey Tim, come here," and he pulled them all in. He was so excited, and he was like, "Tim, come here," and he handed it to him. He's like, "You see this? I made this for you." And it's supposed to say whoop ass on it. You know, like open up a can of whoop ass tonight. Open this up, get it, and it said womp ass on it. And so,
like, oh, thanks.
I
appreciate it. Yeah,
open that up tonight. You get it? Go get him.
Nice guy.
Very nice guy. We got in trouble do you remember when we got in
for the whirlpool?
Yeah.
Now, as we talk about details, it's like if he ever sees it, he's going to cry.
Yeah, he knows he said it. So we got in trouble. Like the guy was retired or whatever. He used to work for Whirlpool, and he loved Whirlpool. And so Tim and I used to have this joke that he like made love to.
To Whirlpool
machines at like just ourselves because we're 16, 17-year-old boys, so everything
sitting in class together, like making jokes.
It's like this guy loves Whirlpool. So like just one day, I don't even think we had made that joke that day, and he was like going through some stuff about everyone's behavior in class, like y'all need to work better, blah 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 this, blah blah, and no, I have never had sex with a washing machine.
And me and Mike are like, oh no, he knows.
And everyone was like, but no one else really knew the joke because it was just our joke.
The rest of the class was like, what is that?
The other 25 kids.
Do you? Like, why'd you say that? Me and Mike are like, oh my gosh.
Like, what are you admitting?
One time, just one time.
Bad week.
Oh, the spin cycle. I love her.
Do you remember we we're in that advertising class and we had to make commercials, and we made the I don't know if you guys remember the commercials where it would show you, like it would show someone like drawing, and then it would show someone drawing at the end of it like, my anti-drug drawing. Do you remember? Have you ever seen those videos where it would show like different stuff, like someone like doing drums or whatever, like my anti-drug playing music. So we made this video in our advertising class where it starts off where this guy asks us if we want a joint, and we're like, no, we don't do that, blah blah blah. And then we go over to see this guy who's got like speakers for sale on the side of the road, and we're like, hey man, how much for your speakers? And he goes $50 or whatever. We're like, how about negative $50? And he's like, what does that mean? And Tim goes, that's where we take your speakers. And then I go, and your life. And then we jump him and kill him. And then the next guy, the guy that offered us a joint, saw us do it, and he goes, hey man, I saw what you guys did to Bobo. That's messed up. And we were like, is that the guy doing drugs telling us that? And then we looked in the camera and go, my anti-drug, gang violence.
Yeah. totally just going against the grain of the whole deal. Like, what were we actually selling?
Yeah.
You know, it's like just me and Mike were comedians, so we're like trying to sell funny.
That was the school project, and I remember like everyone in the class obviously loved it. And the teacher afterwards was like, okay, I'm not really sure what you guys were selling there, but
that was good.
We'll try that. All right. So name of the podcast is called Back in the Day. Every single season, I try to focus on a different topic that I ask my guests about. This season, I'm talking to people about the things that they got in trouble for the most growing up. Do you have a story for me about the time you got in trouble the most at home?
You know, I always, my sweet mom, you know, like I was not a great kid, but I would always act as if I was at home. But again, you know, I fight my brothers and doing stuff like that. I remember one time, and I think this story. Actually, hold on, I'll tell you. Is it okay if I tell two stories?
We can tell as many stories as you want.
Cool, man. All right,
There's no time limit.
I got 26 stories for you.
Just pull out a book. Like, okay.
It's be a long podcast. Well, one time, just being freaking destructive kids with my brothers. My mom brought home like this wicker basket, and she like put flowers in, like a poinsettia, right, or like a just like a frilly something that she put together. Put a lot of time on this wicker basket, like you can hold it. It was a decoration in our living room. Whatever, we were like fighting, and we just like destroyed it, and we just whatever. I don't know if we were breaking it or just like didn't care because it wasn't our stuff. Just selfish kids, you know. My mom comes home, and my mom's so sweet. She never like loses her cool or cusses. She saw that, and she saw that we were just kind of sitting around, like, "What's up, Mom?" I was maybe 9, 10. She sees it destroyed on the floor, and freaking red, dude. She's like, "Oh," and we're like, "Oh, I don't know, it broke." Like totally flippant about the whole thing. That she spent a lot of time on it, and she freaking laid into us. She went into my room, shelves on like, you know, nailed on, all my stuff on it. Me and my brothers. She went, ripped it like a freaking gorilla. Just, she threw it down, man, and she goes, "Now clean it up." And we're just like, "Oh my gosh, my mom's so scary." She freaking lost it.
Did the stuff that was on, did it break?
I think some stuff, you know, piggy bank, whatever. Like, I was like, "How do we clean this up? We don't even know how to hang this thing." She just freaking destroyed our room. But she might have done that, flipped some other stuff. Basically making a point. It's like, "Oh, you don't care about my stuff? Let's see how you feel about it." It was great because it's seared in my brain forever. It's like my mom knew how to get down if she needed to. So more like, you know, good lesson of like, hey, respect other people's stuff, you know? How would you feel if someone did something to your stuff?
Did you, was that the only punishment for it? Was that you guys just got your room destroyed?
I think so. My mom
was,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, she's kind of like me in terms of like soft my kid. Like, I'll discipline, but I back off really quick. Like, you're grounded for a week, 2 weeks, and it's like 2 hours later, I'm like, yeah, you can go play with your friends, whatever, you know? Yeah. Like, there was never like, I don't remember the exact, maybe we got in trouble, maybe got grounded a little bit, but
yeah,
my mom was always soft and like backed off, but yeah.
So that was, do you remember how long it took you to clean that up? Was that like a big thing? Did y'all actually clean it up, or did she end up cleaning it up?
I think we cleaned it up. I didn't know how to, maybe, you know, my big brother helped me put the shelf back up. I don't remember, man. I just remember the terror. Not the cleaning up part. It's like PTSD. I was like, that's all I remember my mom.
I wonder if you remember this, but like when she threw y'all stuff off if she was like screaming while she was doing it, you know, like grunting, making noise. I think,
yeah, I don't remember the exact diatribe she went on, but she was freaking out. One of the other times, and I think this is going to trigger a story in your head. Okay. I'm almost positive it will. So, you know, you're learning cuss words and stuff as a kid, you know, especially you got older brothers. So there's this toy box, and like, I think my mom's friend is over. It's like, she's like the cool aunt friend. Like, I want to impress her because she's like cool. She's like the cool one that kind of like, oh yeah, I'll sneak you some more, you know, Coca-Cola or whatever. So for whatever reason, took this toy car box, and I had a pen, and I was just like, hell. And I went hell. I just wrote hell. Because I'm like learning how to write and like cuss, like, oh, this is cool, hell, all over this box for this car, you know, model car toy. And I was like, Barbara, and I think she laughed, but maybe she's like, hey, your son, like being an adult, like,
told on you,
told on me, and then snitch. My mom came in, and she basically she's like, oh, what is this? And I was like, oh, you know. And she's like, all right, how many times do you write this? And it was like 10 or 12. She's like, all right, go to your room. That's how many times I'm going to spank you. And I was like, no, this is not going like I wanted it to. So for me, just like being cool, like, I'm so cool. Hell. Yeah, hell, I'm so cool. I'm 7. Hell. You know? Did it trigger any story for you? Do you already know?
Skateboard story? Okay.
Do you want me to tell it?
I'll tell it, yeah.
All right.
So Tim was... we have this friend that we grew up with, and I'm in high school at this point. Like, I'm probably like...
We're 16.
16-ish. Yeah. Were you there with me, or I just told you the story?
I think I was there.
I don't think you were. I think it was just me and
maybe
like Taylor Brinson and Graham Rayner. Shout out. To them. We were playing basketball up at this park, and this girl that we grew up with, her brother comes up to us, and we're like...
And he's probably 8 years
He's probably
older
8
than
or
us.
9. Yeah, he's probably like 8 or 9 at this point, you know? And we're like, hey, aren't you so-and-so's brother? He's like, yeah, I'm his brother, whatever. You know, and he's like 8 years old. And he's trying to like break his skateboard. He's got a skateboard and he's like throwing it on the ground. Like, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, I'm trying to break this skateboard. I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea because, you know, you're 16-ish and there's this little kid here. He goes home. His skateboard's broken. Parents going to ask questions like, what happened to your skateboard? He's going to lie and say, well, there's these teenagers there and they broke my skateboard. Like, you know, that's what's going on in our mind. So we're like, don't break your skateboard, kid. He's like jumping off of this thing onto it. He's got half of it on the curb and the other half off of it. He's running. He's jumping. Like, dude, stop doing this. Like, he's like, I don't care. I do what I want. And he picked up the skateboard. He's like, I wrote fuck on my skateboard.
He's like, cool.
On the back of it. Just,
Yeah, it's like, cool, man.
yeah.
Thumbs up.
We're like, okay.
I knew it'd trigger the story in your
like
head. I
this-
knew it. I was like, and that's funny, right? Because like, it's always a next generation up, like, oh, stupid kid, like the hell thing. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And then, oh, it's just teenagers think we are cool and like we're the knowledgeable ones, and like, stupid kid thinks he's. But when we were 16, he had 25, 30 years old, freaking teenagers.
Yeah, it's like never
And
stop.
now we have 70-year-old people like these 38-year-olds.
Yeah.
They know nothing.
Well, we don't know much.
Well, I know, but there's always
Yeah,
this
it's
thing.
always constantly
Always.
more people telling you. So, okay, that's your worst at home that got in trouble. Do you have one from school?
Man, I was really good in school in terms of I never really. I feel like the worst punishment I ever got was getting caught in the hallway making out with my girlfriend at the time. Well, you know, what does that mean? Didn't mean much to me in high school, but I just got caught kind of making out by the lockers, like during, you know, the 5-minute sessions we had between.
Yeah.
And so we're like, hey, you got to stop that. And we're like, oh, it was embarrassing just like getting caught.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
ran away.
You know, and so we got Saturday in-school suspension.
Oh, you had Saturday school?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like the worst punishment.
I never had Saturday school.
You know, anything that I would do bad is I was, you know, me and you ran around together. Like we would just be goofballs, but I never really wanted to get in trouble at home, you know?
I don't think.
And I had to keep a good name for being the football guy.
Yeah. I don't think you and I ever got like in real trouble in school, probably because we were involved and we were funny. And we were respectful. So the teachers liked us.
We charmed. We used our charm for the teachers, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, but he's funny. He's funny. Yeah.
Because that, like, teachers for the most part, like, I wasn't a good kid in school, in class at all.
If you're a craphead, not funny, anything, you're getting in trouble.
100%. But if you're making the teacher laugh, even when you're pranking them, you're not getting in trouble.
Yeah.
100%. Like the teacher that we told you about advertising, I had him the year before in sports, entertainment, and marketing class, which was supposed to be the tightest class ever. But the guy.
Well, the exact same class.
Yeah, it was the exact same class. He sold Whirlpool. He didn't know anything about sports or marketing or anything like that. I don't know why he was the teacher. Nice guy though. I had a class. I had him, and I don't know what I did in the class, but he was like fed up with it. So he like took me outside and he had like a referral written up and he was like taking me to the principal's office. And I put my hand on his shoulder and I talked to him. I was like, dude, men don't do this to each other. If we have a problem, we talk to each other about it. We don't just like, you know, like, I was like, if you had a problem, you've never even told me this, that you had a problem with the way I was acting. And he's like, yeah, you're kind of right or whatever. And I like completely talked him into, I was like, why don't we just throw that referral away and like pretend like it didn't happen. And like I watched him crumble it up and throw it in the trash, and then we shook hands and we walked back in.
That's true though.
Yeah,
That's true though. You did the right thing. You scammed him. You definitely scammed him.
100%. The man should have put me in the principal's office 1,000 times.
Nice guy, like
Yeah,
we said.
very nice guy. I don't tell you another story about him because it just makes us look bad. But
I know, right? It's like we're the bad guys.
yeah, we were 100% the bad guys. I can't believe we didn't actually get in trouble more in school. So, made out with your girlfriend. Do you remember the Saturday school? Like what you did that day?
I think it just kind of make you sit down for freaking 8 hours.
4 hours or however long it is.
Yeah, whatever it was. And weekend when you're, whatever it was,
15, 16.
Yeah, whatever it is. You're just like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Did you get in trouble with that for football?
I don't know. I don't think so. It might have been 8th grade. No, 9th grade. It was 9th grade.
9th grade?
Yeah. No, I don't think I got in trouble.
Did you?
They might have known, but it's like, hey, take your.
You
take
scored a
your
lot of
in-school.
touchdowns,
Yeah.
so
Take your in-school suspension. I don't know what to tell you.
They're like, look, we lost all of our.
At least I'm
games.
straight, coach.
Yeah. Like, did you get detentions in middle school, like 6th grade?
6. Yeah, I think I got a lot of detentions.
I did too. You know when I stopped getting detentions?
Huh.
7th grade. Because remember we had to do those makeups. Do you remember that? Like if you got in trouble and if you got a detention, in like 7th grade, they would make you come to football like 30 minutes early, and you'd have to do bear crawls.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
you'd
yeah.
have to
the
run up and
punishment.
down that hill and stuff just by yourself with the coach.
Yeah, that was
And
terrible.
I purposely never
Yeah,
got
you're
a
right.
detention because of that.
You're right. Maybe 6th grade was we'll see football sports. Good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I was like, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not doing that crap.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, I got a lot of detentions in 6th grade. I remember.
Does it still bother you that you're not the greatest 7th grade running back from our class of all time?
Well, in the long history, I am, but in that, better. Guy was fast. He was fast. He was powerful.
There's this guy that we have this joke because at our Tim obviously went on to get a full ride to play running back in college at a D1 school, so obviously he did well in football. But we have this joke between our group of friends that we're still close with because in our middle school they had 3 teams. Why they do it this way instead of just an A, B, and C makes 0 sense, but they have like an A1, A2, and a C team. They just skip B. So all of our group of friends were all on the A1 team, and then Tim was on the A2 team because we had this other kid that was like the greatest 7th grade running back of all time. He like scored almost every time he touched the ball. Tim scored like every other time he touched the ball. Like pretty cool, right? And so we make this joke because Tim and that other guy were both massive 7th graders. They look like our dads out there, like playing with us. But that guy stayed the same. Like he's still the same size.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
he
sure.
never
Never
out of it.
grew. I don't know what he does now. He's nice guy.
Nice guy. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. I interact with him on social media every now and then. Like one time he posted on something. I was like, man, the greatest 7th grade running back of all time commented on my stuff.
He was fast.
He was
I was
so
definitely
freaking
thinking.
good.
I was like, I love football at that time. I was like, man, are we going to keep going up together? And am I going to be competing against this guy in high school?
Have to
You
play a
just-
different position.
Yeah, he might have moved too.
He did move.
Maybe
If
that's what the saving grace for me.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't think
Didn't really get
I think-
taller.
yeah, I think
I don't know if he got
stayed-
faster. 7th grade fast, but maybe not high school fast.
Yeah, that dude was fast and strong too. Big old guy. I just remember in those games, like we didn't have to worry about it because they just handed it to him. He would score like an 80-yard
Yeah.
touchdown every time he touched the ball, and he was like bouncing off kids. Kids were somewhat
He was good.
got to the point to where halfway through the season, they stopped playing him at running back because we were just destroying teams so much that it was not even fair. And then they put little Jake at running back. You
Jake's
know?
good too.
I know Jake
Jake's
was
an
good
athlete.
too. Jake was a really good athlete, but he wasn't that kid. That's for sure. All right, so in-school suspension on Saturday for making out in the hallways. Do you remember? Was there anything else that you ever did, like acting up in class at all that you can remember?
I mean, yeah, I was always just like being the goofball, but just using my charm not to get in trouble. I don't know about any. You probably know. I mean, you're the archives. You're the archives, right?
Yeah,
That's you.
yeah.
That's not Brandon.
No, Brandon's the
This
observer.
guy remembers everything all the time. So if he says he doesn't remember, he's lying. But I don't think so. I was really trying to be like the good guy in school to like, and maybe it was because it was more of a front, or I just wanted people to like me, right?
Yeah.
But not be like a goody two shoes.
Well, and
but,
nobody wants to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like you're not trying to be like that guy. Like you didn't have a chip on your shoulder.
I had a good home life, so I
Yeah.
wasn't like lashing out.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone liked you, and you were the king of the castle. Like what was that? Looking back on life now that you're 38 years old, what was that like? That feeling? Like I remember our first year back from college, and we would go anywhere in Carrollton
Yeah.
that was near our old high school, or if we went to our high school, that these like 45-year-old men, 50-year-old men would like swoon over you. Like they would be like, hey, what's up? Like it was the exact same conversation. Every single time we would talk to one of them, they would say, hey, Tim, how's Duke, man? What you going to do this summer? Going to get big?
You working out?
Yeah,
this
working
summer?
out, getting big.
Yeah, I'm working out.
Like-
All right.
And there was no one would, and the same men that have known me my entire life too.
What's your buddy's name?
Wouldn't even ask me a question. Like I didn't even exist. Like
This is my theater, buddy. You
yeah,
got any
it's like,
questions
hey, like,
for him? Hey.
yeah, what's up, boys? What was that like? Do you like have any memories of that?
Well, I remember that exactly, but just being like I don't know. You don't realize what you have until you don't have anymore. So if you're like the popular guy, if you're always the popular like football guy, you kind of overlook it. You don't really think much of it, and then you look back and like, oh, that was cool or whatever. So and then in the time, this is just life. This is what it is.
But do you think like the adult thing was weird? Like, could you see yourself right now? Like, let's say 10, 15 years from now, like, let's say your son, because this happened a couple times where we would run into a parent whose son was on the band. So you don't even know this parent, right? Because I remember this one clear as day. This guy was like, "Hey Tim, what's going on, man? My name's so and so. My son is so and so. You left a lot of good memories on that field. You left a lot of good like hit your chest like 3 times." And I was just,
I appreciate it.
like, could you imagine doing that to a kid if you're 50? Like that's
I can't. I can't personally. But those guys that were doing that are different personalities than me. Like that maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just different. Like I wouldn't. I don't see myself doing that to a kid.
I hope that happens so bad. Like it's the other way.
I was the king of this football field, and you're carrying on the memory.
Remember that?
I love you, boy. Who are you, guy? Best white running back in Hebron.
Do you remember that kid? So we would, in the summertime, we would go to the high school and we would work out. And do you remember that kid came up to you? He was maybe like 4 or 5 years younger than us, and he was like, came up to us. I was like, "Hey Tim, my name's so and so. I play running back. I introduced the coaches that I'm the next Tim Ball." And then like 2 weeks,
right.
and you're like, "Cool, man, you work hard or whatever." And then like 2 weeks later, you saw him again. We saw him again. You're like, "Hey, how's everything going at football?" He's like, "They're moving me to tight end."
Yeah, that's not my position, buddy. Your goals are way off right now. Nice guy though.
Yeah.
nice
kid,
guy.
for sure.
Nice kid.
Always doing well. Always doing well. All right. Do you last story for you? Do you have any stories about getting in trouble with the law?
I do have one of those, and thank the Lord, I got away with a lot of stuff, and I'm not in prison. But I can tell you this one. They got dark. I was just like making a joke, like me.
He's not a prison guy.
But Texas OU weekend,
Boomer Center.
sophomore shout out sophomore year. I was there because Duke didn't make a bowl game. Thanks for bringing it up, Mike. I was there hanging out.
Bowl games during October.
Or no, it was
you were redshirting.
That's right.
Yeah,
I tore my ACL. Thanks for bringing it up. My injury that kind of ruined my football career. No, I appreciate it.
Hey, you want to tell the people what you were most upset about that ACL when you tore your ACL?
Oh yeah, when I tore my ACL, I was like, that's a bummer. I'm gonna have to, they told me that you're gonna miss. We have to try to get you back for the next season. And I was like, oh, that really sucks, but okay. And then it was a week before freaking.
This is our freshman year.
Freshman year spring break. Had an amazing spring break senior year, unreal. And I thought I was gonna repeat it. And I was like, oh, I got spring break. And they're like, well, you're not going to spring break. You have surgery. Because they're paying for everything. They're like, we're going to get you back right. I literally, 19-year-old kid, after I got away from the coach, I was like crying. Literally crying that I couldn't go to spring break.
It was more upset of that than not
I
being able to play
was
football.
because my priorities in my life was way off from what it is now. But I was crying because I couldn't go with my old high school buddies.
Yeah, because we had a big plan. We'd gotten together. We were all going to go to Padre for spring.
Spread the gospel.
Break. Yeah.
Yeah,
make pancakes for everybody.
Yeah. That's what our plan was.
We're gonna make pancakes. We're gonna sing on the beach, and give rides to drunk people back to their hotels. So you cried about that instead of missing out on football.
Yeah.
Okay, so
note.
you're
So Texas
at
OU
OU,
weekend.
yeah.
Are you there that weekend?
No.
So I'm meeting Jake, my old girlfriend, just to hang out there that weekend. That weekend's crazy. They shut down everything. If you guys know anything about Texas OU weekend, downtown Dallas, it's nuts. So they are just snagging people for anything, fights, whatever. Like just arrest. Like we can't let anything get out of control, so we're gonna arrest anything and everyone. So had a couple beers, nothing too crazy. And their restaurants aren't letting anybody in unless you're like an actual paying customer to go pee. And I was about to pee myself. I saw the porta potty line, million people. I was like, I can't. I'm literally going to pee myself. So I was like, okay. So I kind of hustled over to this kind of dark little corner of a building, kind of a grass field. And I was like, it's dark over here. I'm just real quick. Start peeing. All of a sudden, freaking Batman light from a building up. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh, okay, let me just, at casual, turn around. I'm like center stage, this freaking Batman light on me, you know, the Batman signal light. I'm just like, the hands in my pocket, like, I don't know what this is. 15 riot cops. I'm not kidding. 15 riot cops start walking toward me, semicircle. And I'm just like, maybe there's someone behind me, you know, maybe I'll just keep walking. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're surrounding me. Freaking grab my arm, put me under arrest, and take me to jail or the drunk tank because they're literally arresting everybody for anything. So that was the biggest thing. It was terrible, but here's the best part.
Yep. I was
here's the
wondering
best
if you were
part.
going to tell this part or
I
not.
forgot about it. Yes. So that sucks. I was like, oh man, they took my. I was like, now I'm a criminal. Like I'm a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. At this point, 20, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my parents are going to think I'm the worst kid ever, and I'm going to have a record. And so I go down, I try to get ahead of it, and I go to the city like the next day. And I'm like, before I go back to Duke, I have to take care of this. I'm like, hey, my name's Tim Ball. I got a ticket last night. I wasn't doing anything. I was just, they said I was drunk. I wasn't drunk because they just throw everybody in for public intox. Doesn't matter what you did. Public intox. They don't take your. So I'm looking and they're like, no, we don't see. Doesn't look like you got recorded in there. And I was like, oh my gosh, did I really get away with this? Did I not? So a couple weeks later, I get a call from my stepdad. He's like, hey, something happened in, the weekend? Did you get arrested? I was like, yeah. And I told him the story. I was like, look, I wasn't drinking. I just peed and they just arrested me. And he's like, well, let me look at, because my dad was a Dallas police officer. My stepdad was a Dallas police officer. So we looked into it and they recorded my ID wrong. And instead of saying Tim Ball, what it looked like is that someone wrote LL quickly, but it scooped into a U. So it said Tim Bow. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't have my name right. And some poor Asian guy is going to get pulled over and be like, yeah, my name's Tim Bow, but I never pee in Dallas. No. So I was just, some poor Asian guy named Tim Bow.
It's like, that's
disgusting,
disgusting,
Like, I never pee in Dallas. That must be a white guy. That was not me. I'm like, so I scot-free. I mean, I spent the night in a drunk tank, which was ridiculous, but scot-free. No record of it except me, but I could be lying.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't come
that
at
was
me.
18 years ago.
Except Tim Bow was really pissed off.
Yeah.
I got arrested for you.
He sues you. Good story.
It's okay to do
right
accents on here. I mean,
that's fine.
Yeah,
You're the
I'll
one
do
that did it, not me. So I'm
doing accents. I don't care. They cancel me. I don't care.
Cancel him from it. All right, dude. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on. You got anything you want to plug? You want to plug like people find you for real estate? Do you care about any of that?
I don't really have a website, but if you want to hit me up on socials, Tim Ball. I don't even know what my Instagram name is. You might be able to pull it up. Just reach out to me. You can find me. If you got some houses to sell, if you want to invest in real estate and you got some money, don't call me if you don't have any money because I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah,
I'm past that. Okay, I don't want to educate you. Come in educated. I'll sell you some houses. I'm just kidding. Sort of. Take a grain of salt there, but if you have houses, I'd love to buy them or tear downs, lots, development deals. We got the resources to make it happen.
Sweet.
So that's really it. Shout out to my wife, Dr. Terry Ball. I love you. My kiddos. Love you, Mike.
Yeah, dude.
One of my best friends
Love you
of all
too.
time.
Thanks for coming on. Make sure you guys follow Tim, buy houses from him, sell him houses, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys follow me at Michael Pasvar on Instagram. Check out the website, michaelpasvar.com, for show dates coming up. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to this podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye now.